Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be going over 5 simple rules men should have in their 20s. I recently turned 22 and I've been thinking over simple rules that men should have in their 20s because I feel that what we do in our 20s really defines our life in general and in the future. So I'm going to go over 5 simple rules that I'm going to religiously practice and what I think you should as well. First rule is to be debt free. Looking rich and being rich are two different lifestyles. Being rich is having freedom. Looking rich is being a slave to your possessions. One of the best advices that I got was from a friend, and he told me, don't use credit card, just stick to debit cards. Obviously, I tried living like that with just reliance on debit card for about 2 years or so. Now I have a credit card. That's because using a debit card is not beneficial in a way, as long as you have the awareness that you're not going to spend extra money. So with credit cards, you get rewards, cashbacks, percentage of cashbacks, 2%, 3%. So when you use credit cards, I guess the best way that I would say is most people, there's still a lot of advices going on about using debit card and just sticking to debit cards and not use credit cards so that you don't miss out on paying back the money and not decreasing your credit and not buying extra things that you don't need. That's the whole smart thing about debit cards, but credit cards is just you get temptations of buying extra things. So I guess the best and most simplest way of telling you anything is just be more aware of what you buy and don't buy, and use credit cards because I think that is the smartest way because you get rewards, and that's what I do. In the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, the author Ramit Sethi, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but he preaches actually throughout the book that there are 6 commandments of using a credit card. Pay off your credit card regularly, get all fees waived on your card, negotiate a lower APR, annual percentage rate, keep your cards for a long time and keep them active, get more credit. Warning, do this only if you have no debt. Use your rewards. So these are the 6 commandments of credit cards that Ramit Sethi preaches throughout his book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I read it 2 years ago, so it's a pretty good book. I recommend you read it. I'll leave you off with a quote by Benjamin Franklin. Don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. Second rule is your 20s define your life. It's very common and prevalent that we as men don't have much value in our 20s because it is the decade that we want to try everything and don't really have routines or habits, or we just go with everything with our gut and we just listen and say yes to everything that's offered to us. So I think that's bad because what you want to think is you want to think in long term and short term. Last year I went to Rocky Mountain National Park, so that's in Colorado. That's the school that I'm going to, Colorado State University, and I saw this big sign which said mountains don't care. Obviously it is just for the mountain goers to watch out for lightnings and avalanches, and just to remind them that they should have proper equipment when they're hiking and climbing around the mountains. But I guess it's a good metaphor for us in our 20s because most men in their 20s don't care. Like, honestly, it's true. I've been looked down upon from my friends many times because they see me as too disciplined or too strict on myself. But I don't know, I'm doing it for my future self, and I think it's valuable that you value your 20s because I feel that it's going to make a big difference when you turn 30 or when you turn 40. Because when you look back, you don't want to regret anything. And like I said in a previous video, what keeps me going is to make sure that I don't regret when I look back into my life. So the second one is 20s define your life. Another thing that I want to tell you is set goals. It's so sad that we as men in our 20s don't set goals. We just wake up, do what we see, just don't have a routine. We don't have a short-term or long-term goals. The father of self-improvement sphere or world that you want to say, the father, Jim Rohn, the father of self-improvement, he was talking about having short-term and long-term goals. And I feel it's really important that you have a short-term and long-term goals. If you check my Notion page, I have a short-term and long-term goals. And I think it just looking at it more and more just inspires me and sort of helps me to navigate me to a lifestyle that I want to have. The YouTuber First Men, he constantly talks about how men just don't have long-term goals, and everyone just thinks too short. Their mind is too narrow and it's too close. You have to set realistic goals that are kind of daunting in a way, and those are usually when it's long-term. So think longer. If you want to have a better body, then you should probably set it longer than usual, because maybe you're just not giving it enough time. Alright guys, the fourth rule is to hit the gym. Working out is something that you should do most days if you can't do every day, because it is obvious. I don't want to tell you about like how it's beneficial for your health and blah blah blah. Like I guess everyone on the YouTube sphere and even all the books that you read tells you that. But if you just like, I just don't understand why people don't work out. Like it's just so beneficial. You look more attractive. You get respect from the people that you meet. You feel better. You get stronger. And the clothes that you wear, it just looks so much better on you. So I don't understand why people don't work out. And I guess it's kind of hard. I remember being at that early stage where I had a hard time going into gym because I was just so insecure of like how people perceive me and how I looked. But that's the exciting part. Like if you just get there and you just go, I don't know, it's weird, man. That's life though, right? I mean, if you think, okay, fine. The easiest way to think about it is try to like look back at something that you do every day. So like, okay, fine. If you are good at reading books, try to like look back on how you started to read books. I'm sure that you didn't start reading big, thick books. You started reading very slim books, right? And that's how it starts. It's the same thing at the gym. Now you're so good at reading books that you don't appreciate how good you are at it. And when you try something else that's new, then it's kind of scary. And that was the same way with me with soccer and going to the gym. I would play soccer all the time and I wouldn't lift weights because I was so new at lifting weights. But now it's the other way around. I lift weights and I don't play soccer anymore. That's just a personal reason or preference. But in case for you, if you don't lift weights, you don't go to the gym, then it's probably because it's very new for you. And I'm sure you're good at something else. And how did you get good at that thing that you're good at right now? Well, that's because you started doing it every day. And it starts like that, something small, and it gets bigger and bigger. Hit the gym. You're gonna look better. You're gonna have more respect. You'll feel better. And on the side of hitting the gym, I also recommend that you eat healthier food, eat clean food, because you're just not going to get the results if you don't. Last rule, which is the fifth one, is invest in your looks. In society, it's very common that men shouldn't take care of themselves because we're men and girls do that shit. But it's not true. You have to invest in your looks. I mean, have a proper skincare routine. It's been a year or so that I actually have a proper skin routine that a proper and good brand that I use for my skin, and I've been doing it every day. I've been using, I guess it's very simple, just wash face, moisturize, and apply sunscreen. Those three things would just make your skin look 10 times better. And yeah, that's it. You don't have to use any other complicated things. And oh yeah, and also from time to time for face mask, if you could do it once a week, that'll also be very beneficial. But yeah, as guys, we don't really value our skin that much, or not at all. An average dude doesn't take care of his skin. That's why he looks like shit. What's really sad is that there's girls, just like on average, girls just look better than guys because they actually take care of their skin. So you should think about that. How sad it is that we as men are lacking in our looks just because we're not having a proper skin routine. So invest in your looks. Have a good skincare routine. Another thing is apply sunscreen every day. I want to say this separately from saying skincare routine because sunscreen is something that's neglected, and we as men should have a proper apply sunscreen every day because because you don't want to get those dark spots, you don't want to get sunburned, and obviously in the future, long term, you don't want to get skin cancer from the sun UV light. So apply sunscreen, have a skincare routine. Another thing is buy proper clothes. What I mean by that is go with clothes that have solid color. Don't have those big logos. You don't want to be a company's advertisement billboard because, I don't know, I guess you might get some attraction from some people looking at you and stuff, but I don't know, like, isn't it just better to have solid colored clothes that you can mix and match with other clothes? And I think it saves money a lot too, because people won't realize that you're wearing the same clothes, so you don't have to wash it as often. I mean, that's kind of dirty, but you know what I mean. You just have a better and more options. You have more options in your wardrobe. So invest in your looks, proper skincare routine, apply a good sunscreen, and yeah, have proper clothes. What I mean by that is have solid color clothes, buy better clothes, look more presentable. And these are the 5 simple rules for men in their 20s. Hope you learned something. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, learn to work harder on yourself than you work on your job. Till next time.